Welcome, everybody, to my video of me telling 3 true scary stories. Hey guys, welcome to another video. This was Lindsay's idea. I'm gonna be doing a very spooky video. Hardly. I'd say if you're from the ages of 13 and up, this is probably the most mildest scares in the world. So, ooh. In this video, I thought it'd be a little fun. I thought it'd be interesting to share 3 true real-life scary stories. Stories that have happened to me and people that I know in my life. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to share this because it's the Halloween season. It's Halloween time. So might as well, tell some spooky stories. And again, I'm putting that very lightly. Some of them, I feel like if you're in these situations personally, they would actually be scary. But and maybe listening to them, yes, the cat's scared now. But I feel like if you're just listening to them, they might not sound that scary. But believe me, in this situation, very scary. So I'm gonna go probably mild and then slightly more scary, and then the scariest last, because it's a real life. It's like a real life situation and people deal with. So I'm gonna go with story number 1. This would maybe scare a preschooler, but it's a real story. So I'm gonna share it. I don't know why I did that, but anyways, this happened to my brother, my oldest brother, Ashton. He was about 15 years old, and he arrived at my grandma's house, and none of us were there. We left the door open for him because my brother didn't live with us. He lived in another city. He used to come see us every other weekend and stuff. And we left the door unlocked for him. And yeah, it was raining. It was a thunderstorm. So he came. No one was home. He went right into the basement because that was mine and his hangout spot. And yeah, he just chilled in the basement, watched some TV while waiting for all of us because we were all at the grocery store getting groceries and food and stuff. We were preparing a pretty big dinner. So he just chilled in the basement and watched some stuff, and you heard the thunder and lightning all rattling outside, the rain hitting, because you're in the basement. You can hear the water like hitting the window and stuff. Very creepy stuff, I guess. But then he gets a text message from somebody, and it says, "I know you're alone." That's what the text says. It says, "I know you're alone." My brother's text is like, okay, this is wrong number. And so he texts him back, and he's like, who is this? I think you have the wrong number. And then he says, "Get out. Get out now. There's someone in the house. Get out." And my brother, for a second there, just kind of froze. And my grandma's house is my grandma and grandpa's house was very crickety, so my brother thought he heard someone upstairs, like someone in the house, like to get him and stuff. And he was like just kind of nervous. My brother's a very tough guy. He's a police officer, for fuck's sakes. But again, he was 16 at the time, and he just didn't know what to do. So he basically just kind of sat there shaking and just like, I don't know what to do. And then he texted them back after a minute, and he says, "If this is some kind of practical joke, go fuck yourself." And then the person texted back, "They're going to kill you. Get out now." And then again, it just made my brother nervous, and he tried to like call the number, and there's no answer and stuff. And then eventually, like 5-10 minutes later, we all came to the house, and it was fine. And he told us about it and everything, and he just blocked the number and stuff. But so yeah, it's just a little creepy story, but still creepy nonetheless. Someone texting you, especially when you're alone in a house and it's raining, it's thunderstorm. And someone texting you, saying there's someone in the house, they're going to kill you, they're going to get you and stuff. It's very scary. Very scary. I mean, your mind plays tricks on you. You think you're hearing things that might not be there. And it's very eerie, very trippy, very creepy. But obviously, very, like, it was probably a prank. Like, they were fucking with him and stuff. So, just saying. So, that's the first creepy story. Second one happened to me, personally. Happened about last year, actually. Last year, I used to do, everyone knows that I work in a movie theater. You know, good times, I guess. But I did extra stuff for extra money around last year. Me and my buddy of mine, Ryan, you know him from the podcast that's going nowhere. Me and him drove for Uber. We did Uber. Like, he drove, I did the pickup and delivered it to people's houses, and we split the take 50-50. And like, it was a kind of side thing we did for extra cash and stuff. So we did it through a lot of the times we did was mostly November and December, and we kind of stopped it a little bit. But in November, it was cold and it got dark very early and stuff. But that was the best time to do it. Dinner time, like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. That's when the money came in. That's when we did our orders, especially when McDonald's is booming and stuff. So we got an order for McDonald's down. It was like downtown where I live. Downtown's a shady fucking place. So we go downtown, pick up the McDonald's, then we got to go to a house that is downtown. It's by this like train station, and it's all weird and gross and very ghetto. I know, I lived in the neighborhood when I was younger, so I know the ghetto. But we went to this house. This guy ordered the McDonald's, and I got out of the car, and this guy's house was gross too. Looked like, you need to run that shit down. Get a bulldozer, for fuck's sakes. But it was dark. I couldn't see anything. There was no lights on in his house. So maybe I'm like, oh, maybe they're all asleep and he maybe lives in a basement or something. He's getting some munchies and stuff. Don't want to wake anyone. But he didn't say in the message, like, ring the doorbell or leave the food. So I just obviously knocked on the door. There's no doorbell because can't afford a doorbell, I guess. So I knocked on the door. And nothing. It was nothing. Like, I couldn't. Nothing. No one answered. I kept knocking and knocking. I did for almost like a minute. And I'm like, I'm knocking as loud as I can here. I don't want to wake anyone. I don't like your neighbors and stuff. Like, answer your fucking door. And I just kept standing there looking puzzled. And my buddy was in the car behind me. He was like looking at me. He's like, what? And I'm like, they're not answering. And then he like messaged the guy. He's like, dude, your food's here. And then I just kept knocking, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I just leave the food here? Like, what do I do? And he's like, I don't know. And then when I looked, scared the shit out of me, man. I looked, and I realized, because, like, when you stare in the dark for long enough, you can see shapes, you can see objects and stuff. You can, like, almost see in someone's house, because he's got, like, no curtains and shit. I actually saw when I actually like kind of stared in the door, and I realized the whole time he was standing there just staring at me the whole time in the dark, pitch black, just standing there staring at me. My God, did it creep me out. Like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm just like, holy shit. This whole time I've been knocking for like 3 minutes, knocking and knocking on the door. He's literally just standing right at the front door, pitch black, staring at me. He didn't open the door, didn't do nothing. He just was staring at me. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I don't know what he was. I don't know if he was jerking off. I don't know what. I'm not that pretty. It's creepy. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, I like hold the bag up like this, like an idiot. I'm just like, and then all of a sudden, the door opens and his hand just like comes out. I'm just like, then he grabs it out of my hand, slams the door, and locks it, and then closes a second door. I didn't realize there was 2 doors going in the house. Slams it and locks it. And that's it. I'm like, I kind of turn around. I'm like, okay. And then I talked about it. And I'm like, that was the fucking creepiest thing in the whole fucking world. It's never delivered to this house again. This guy is clearly a serial killer. He's probably got dead bodies in there. He's murdering kittens. I don't know what's going on, but it was creepy. So yeah, that was a creepy little situation I went through. I'm like, ugh. I don't know who this guy was. I didn't know what he looked like, and I think he is a mass murderer. Just a theory, though. Might be a nice, sweet old man with dementia. I don't know. Final story. Probably the most uncomfortable story to tell. not my story to tell, but I'll tell it anyways because I'll leave names out and stuff. So it's all good. Happened to a family member of mine, an aunt. I won't say anyone names or anything. It's happened a long time ago, back in the 80s. Long time ago it happened. And this is like a real, there's no ghosts, no nothing. This is like just real fear right here. Like people, this happens to people, and people need to be careful and watch themselves. So my aunt and my uncle had a place together. They were about 20 years old. They rented a place in Toronto. Pretty shady, like condo, apartment stuff. Because they couldn't afford the good stuff because they were just starting their careers and everything. So they lived in this crappy apartment for a few months and stuff. And my uncle and her were going out, and she was getting ready. He waited downstairs to the car, like he took the elevator and waited in the car for her. And she left, locked the door, went to the elevator, pressed the elevator, and I think they lived on like the 9th floor, maybe, I think 9th. So she went down, pushed the elevator down, and closed the door. And all of a sudden, it goes to the 8th floor. A guy goes on with her. And he's shady as fuck, man. Like, shady as shit. And he goes on with her. Elevator door closes. And as soon as they hit the 6th floor, my aunt is just kind of like staring. Like when you go in an elevator, what do? You stare at the numbers. It going down, like hitting 4, 3, 2, 1. That's what pretty much everybody does. Or nowadays, you just stare at your cell phone. But that's what she did. But all of a sudden, she was staring. That all of a sudden, she looked over, and that guy was just staring at her. Just full-blown fucking staring at her. And then she says, "Can I help you?" And all of a sudden, he grabs her by the neck, slams her against the elevator, and pulls out in his pocket a knife. He doesn't fully pull it out, but he says, "If you scream, I will pull this out." Legit, this shit happened. And she was almost like heart racing, scared out of her mind, didn't know what to do. There's obviously cameras in the elevator, but they're locked in this elevator. And they're slowly going down the floors, and all of a sudden he starts like kind of like gently rubbing his hand down her and stuff. And she's just absolutely uneased. And he just told her to shut up. Just said, "Shut up. Just shut up. Don't breathe. Don't do it. I don't want to hear you breathing and stuff." However, luckily, as soon as they hit the 1st floor and the door opened, she kneed him in the fucking stomach, pushed him off, and then ran out the door. Ran out the elevator door, through the lobby. And yes, he was even chasing her through the lobby. And he said, "Get back here, you stupid fucking bitch." His words. She ran all the way to her car where my uncle was, and my uncle saw her running out of the apartment building, crying and shaking, and he saw someone running after her. He got out of the car, and my uncle's a big guy. He just kind of just stood and walked towards them. The guy stopped and then ran the other way, and my uncle screams, "I don't know what you did, but I will fucking kill you." And then he checked on my aunt and she told him the story. They filled out a police report, and she gave the description of the guy and stuff. And apparently the description she gave of the guy, it doesn't fit the description of any resident there. So maybe he was visiting someone. We don't know. They moved out of the apartment, I think a month or two later. But my aunt was scared for a long time. She didn't want to go into elevators like at all. And even still to this day, it's like 30-something years later, she will not enter an elevator by herself. And this is a legit fear people have. And this is a fear that's legit because this can happen to people. People can attack you. You don't know when you're not safe. So I always say if you're a woman, carry pepper spray or carry a blade. Jam that motherfucker in the dick. That's what I'd do. But yes, those are some 3 very true scary stories. Hope you all enjoyed them. Hope you all have a great Halloween. And I'll see you next time. Woo! Join the dark side.